This is the big week that kicks off the first of those 3 eclipses that are upcoming. Usually eclipses travel in pairs. However, we have an add-on this time. First, this week we have July 12th, we have the eclipse new moon in Cancer. And then July 27th, we have that big one in Aquarius that's also going to bring in Mars and his flyby. Then we'll have August 11th, an eclipse in Leo, 18 degrees, which is going to hearken back to last year's total eclipse that crossed America. Welcome, I'm Judith Royal, archetypal astrologer, and this is your astrology weather forecast for July 9th to the 15th, 2018. And why do you need to know all this about the phases of the moon? Because our purpose, which we always want to hold at the beginning of anything that we do, our purpose is to come to know ourselves as that reflection of the light of our Creator, in the same way that the moon is that beautiful reflection of the light of the sun, reminding us even in our darkest hours that the light is always with us. So this week, obviously we're going to talk about that eclipse. It's going to be at Pacific Daylight Time this Thursday, 7:48 p.m. It's a new moon and a partial solar eclipse, not visible in the United States, but it is then marking the beginning of a brand new moon phase. So you want to be getting your intentions ready this week. And I can tell you it's all about relationships because the moon's relationship with the sun and the earth, the way she dances around the sun at the same time she's pirouetting around the earth, she's very talented and also our closest personal celestial body. So her position is in that dance is what we call the phases of the moon. So this week with that eclipse, the moon is cheek to cheek with the sun, both of them in Cancer. So this is the kind of perfect compatibility that does give birth to new life. So we are still in the spirit of freedom of last week's July 4th, America Appreciation Day. I hope that you noticed how freedom was showing up in your own life. And because we have this Cancer event this week, I thought you'd enjoy seeing the birth chart of the USA. It's remarkable in that if you see, I've put some notes in the top right that show us we have in the USA's chart the Sun, Messenger Mercury, jovial and generous Jupiter, Venus, the goddess of love, all in the sign of Cancer for the US chart. So this new moon this week is definitely going to affect the national stage here. And I think very prophetic because when we get to the second one on July 27th, that's also the time when Mars will be making that second closest flyby. And remember the first one, 2003, when Mars made that flyby that was the closest orbit he had ever made to us in 60,000 years. And the second one, we're having the 27th. So the 2003 Mars flyby was when Bush declared war on Iraq. But this time, we're not going to have that kind of war. but we're going to have something similar perhaps in the tariff wars. But the most important part is that Mars is now in Aquarius, and that is a whole different mission for Mars and gives us great hope. And let me tell you why I think that's true. I think Mars' mission in Aquarius is that we cease fighting anyone or anything. And how? Well, because whenever we fight, whenever we're angry, right, we think that comes from the fact that we believe we're being attacked somehow and we must defend ourselves. All of that depends on seeing the world as a duality, right and wrong, good and bad, and mainly us and them. But really, we are all one consciousness. We are all one. And I believe that's what we are coming to the conscious level with in our collective consciousness now. So we're needing to learn that we're very poor judges. We're totally unreliable eyewitnesses. And that if we will put down that gavel of judgment, where we keep trying to make other people wrong and ourselves right, that we then can surrender and have real peace of mind because it will put us on the path to forgive rather than pardon. And what we mean by that, and I'm sure you all know this, is that forgiveness takes a humbling surrender to the truth that we really aren't capable of judging because of our very selective perception. It's so narrowly subjective that any event, including all of the events of our past, have only the meaning that we have given it. We wrote the whole script, right? And so by ourselves, we have no idea what really happened. And that's why we need each other, because two people looking at the same event will definitely see it differently, which tells us that we're totally biased, right? So I always say that's where we ask the angels, right? Because they have the perspective of what is good for everyone, what will bring peace to our whole planet, not just to our one country even. So let's use the time now so that everything we see as an opportunity to forgive ourselves. Because whenever I forgive someone else for something that I think they have done, right, and emphasis on the fact that I'm the one who made up what they have done. But anyway, whenever I forgive anyone, I'm forgiving myself because we are one. Likewise, I hold a resentment against somebody, I'm holding a resentment against myself. And so the forgiveness, especially of ourselves, is the key to happiness. So we're now in an era with Mars, and you can see more about this on my website under the heading Horoscope. But we're thinking out of the box. We're mainly having a call to action out of the box. That means really to sort of fight for solutions to our problems that break the old traditional molds. Because Aquarius is, the age of Aquarius is, of course, peace dawning on everyone. But that's because Aquarius is the sign of the great humanitarian in all of us. And that's why I think we're seeing the drama, the archetypal drama, on the stage of the Mexican immigrants being separated, the mothers from the children, the fathers from the children, and the family being torn apart. And it is really reaching the hearts of all of us again, because we feel what they feel, because we are, in fact, one. So let's walk through the week now so that you can get in what ways or you are compatible or not compatible with this week's events. So we are starting off Monday in the air sign of Gemini, and it is also the balsamic phase. It's 3 days before the new moon eclipse. So we also want to be attuned to messages that we receive and thoughts that pop into our mind that are prophetic, because we're really using these last 3 days of the cycle. It's like the end of the Pisces in terms of evolutionary astrology, where we've finished in the burial ground, we finished letting go. And so now we're starting to get that glimmer of what is possible because of that. So Monday, the moon is in Gemini by the late morning, and in the evening, we find that Venus, the goddess of love, is going to move into the sign of earthy Virgo. Now, that's a big focus for this week, because our archetype for this week is Venus herself, because this eclipse we have in numerology is a number 3, and so in the tarot it is the number 3, who is the Empress, who is Venus herself. So we have this beautiful arc of the goddess of love overseeing everything that is happening this week. Now Tuesday, which is usually Mars, it's always Mars Day, and this week it will be the moon in Gemini still, but moving into Cancer in the afternoon. So this day is that Nike slogan, just do it. We have a big event with that moon, in that this is the day that Jupiter finishes his retrograde phase and turns direct. So the things that you have been, like feeling lucky about, now you're actually going to see the manifestation in the physical world. You're actually going to act on the lucky hunches that you've been receiving for months now. On Wednesday, which is Mercury's messenger day, the day you really want to have your voice, the moon is going to sort of sparkle with some surprises, some sweet nothings, some very inspired artistry. Again, Venus is our archetype this week, and so this day in particular, she gives us this sort of effervescence because she's making an aspect with the god of lightning. So talk about sparks flying. You can look for new romance. You can also look for a refresher of an old one. And it doesn't just have to be romance. Venus is relationships, so it affects partnerships and relationships of all kinds. On Thursday, the moon is still in Cancer, and this is the gratitude day. This is where we give from that big cornucopia of all that we have received in our life. And it is the day, of course, of the eclipse. So eclipses have an 18-year cycle. And so this eclipse on Thursday harkens back to an eclipse also in Cancer on July 1st in the year 2000. So basically it was a halfway point in the first year of the new millennium. So in a way, we're going to have that echo of excitement that we have a whole new opportunity in this age of technology, which we can now see even more clearly 18 years later, that solutions to age-old problems are going to be, well, maybe not instantly, but very quickly possible through technology, through nanotechnology. Now, with this eclipse, we also have a bit of muscle flexing and power struggles because we have a couple of squares in there, some tension, but we are going to come out with a spiritual solution because we have a beautiful trine in water signs with Jupiter and Neptune. This is like having, well, it's like having a blessing from the very best of spiritual partners. So I think we will all feel inspired. It is absolutely a terrific day for you to set your intentions and know that you will have solutions come to you for whatever problems you think you have. On Friday, which is always Venus's day, you're going to be feeling your love for someone very strongly. It's a particularly romantic Friday because the moon will be in Leo, and you know, Leo's always creative and romantic, and so Venus steps in on this day, and she's got a nice partnership with Saturn, not too serious, however, because Venus is never too serious. So she might, however, inspire us to commit or to ask for a commitment. And remember, Venus is love, but it's also money, because she likes money and men, right? On Saturday, we still have the moon in Leo, and Saturday is that day for work to be done. And so you're going to have a lot to say this Saturday. The moon in Leo is going to pair up with the messenger planet Mercury, who is also in Leo. So you fire signs out there, grab this day as a wonderful opportunity to speak up and to really get yourself understood and understand other people by having lots of meaningful conversations. Sunday, we end the week with the Leo moon in the morning and Virgo in the afternoon. And we're going to feel a lot of warmth and comfort and how much you are loved. And this Sunday is especially the sweetest day of the week because that Virgo moon is going to pair up with Venus, who's also in Virgo. And I think we will just feel our hearts overflowing with love. Now let's think about compatibility with your own particular moon and sun sign. We are going to think in terms of those elements, remember, because that's the greatest clue to compatibility. So water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, you are in your creative glory this week. Your ability to download those spiritual solutions is going to come to you so easily. You're just through epiphanies, through out-and-out clairvoyance, you're just going to be able to read the signs, especially Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning. But there's also that work to be done for you because on the Thursday eclipse, you're going to encounter a test of your strength. You may run into something, an event or a person, that the ego would use destructively, even a ruthless power struggle, but spirit will use it for a breakthrough. You can have a breakthrough from something long buried that pops up in your psyche and asks for forgiveness. Earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, you have a miraculous opportunity for creativity that has a practical use. That is, if you're painting, if you're writing, you've got rough drafts, you've got canvases in the closet. This is really a great week for you to pull that out and put it into the marketplace. But you're going to do it in ways, remember, that have never been done before. Certainly not in the way that you're going to do it, because that will be totally unique. Now, air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, although you've got that warrior Mars in your corner because he's in the air sign Aquarius, this week you have a crisis point. It's sort of like when your exuberance, which you have lots of because of that Mars, your exuberance for getting stuff done, you might go a bit overboard. So try to keep a balance between outer activities in the world and time for inner work. You really can get a lot done. Just watch out for sort of like a surprising curveball that somebody throws your way. Fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, your pace is going to be downright hectic. You also may meet up with some quarrelsome people. I hope that won't be you, who might use some sort of underhanded tactics to try to draw you into a power struggle. So you know better now, and you won't do that. And Messenger Mercury is really in your corner and on your side because Mercury's in that fire sign Leo. So no matter what happens, you're going to be able to talk your way out of it or into it, whichever you would like to have happen. So this is a great week for new beginnings, of course. And I think for us to join in that recognition that we are all one and affirm with this new moon that we intend to cease fighting everyone and everything in the joyful recognition that we are all one. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.